Yo, what's going on, everybody? Today is Sunday, December 7th, 2025. Bitcoin USD price 89,707 US pieces of paper. 24-hour high was 89,862. 24-hour low was 87,733. $1 gets you 1,115 Satoshis. Bitcoin block height 926,858. Transaction fees 0.2 sats per VByte low priority. A half of sat, a half of a Satoshi medium priority, and 1 Satoshi for high priority. All right, so this is the first time I'm seeing this sub Satoshi transaction fees. So I wonder how that works when you're sending transactions. I guess if you're using some sort of GUI graphical interface, you could click a button and do things like that. Or I guess if it's just command line or something, what do? You just decimals? Does the decimal work? I've never sent a Bitcoin transaction below 1 Satoshi, so I don't know if I ever will. Is this going to be a thing? How long is this going to be? Subsat fees? Probably not long. If I had to guess, I would say not, right? Nah, there's going to be way too much demand. Going to be way too much demand. You could just slide that off. There's going to be way too much demand for Bitcoin. I mean, I know we've been going for a while now where it's been super low fees. You know, this happened months ago. Maybe it was like mid-year, early year, 2025. Where the big thing on X, Twitter, just in general, social media, everybody was like, hey, now's the time. Consolidate your UTXOs. We're down. I mean, look, I remember doing it at like 34 sats per VByte, and I thought that was a deal. I was like, yo, 34 sats per VByte, down. I'm in. Consolidate these bad boys. But that's when it was like in the hundreds, maybe the 200. I don't even know what it was. I forget, but I felt good at 34. And then now it's been, I wonder, is there like a history on this? I don't know if there's a history on this site where you could see. I don't think so. But yeah, it's been like this for a while. I don't think it's gonna last. Hopefully it does last though, because if you're transacting on Bitcoin, it's nice. You know, you spend 300 Satoshis for a transaction, something like that, you know, when it's 1 sat per VByte. Depending on what you're doing, how many UTXOs and things like that, but pretty cheap now. But then the other side of the coin is that, hey, if it's so low, then that means there's no demand. We need demand. We want demand. If we want Bitcoin to be the money of the world, it can't just be a store of value. And I know everybody says, oh, you know, this is how it starts. It starts as a store of value. This is how money evolves. And I can dig it. I'm down with it. But that's also how money becomes captured. So just keep that in mind. That is also how money becomes captured. We think, oh, it's all a part of the plan. It's just natural process. Store of value, then medium of exchange. Well, I mean, if you read the white paper, it's meant to be a medium of exchange right off the bat, peer-to-peer electronic cash. And that's why the whole scaling thing, I know Bcash came out and they wanted to increase the block size, and it turned out they wound up losing. The block size got increased, but they forked the chain and then wound up going low in price. Like Bitcoin Cash didn't do well. So I'm not entirely sold though on what is the right thing, how to scale Bitcoin. I think Roger Ver and them, they probably did it wrong. Perhaps the way they did the split, and it could possibly happen again. I know Satoshi has a quote out there where he talks about scaling Bitcoin, increasing the block size where they could do it ahead of time. Was he referring to a hard fork? I don't think so. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how that goes. I'm sure that'll come back around again. I know we have second layer solutions like Lightning, but can Lightning even scale? Lightning's limited too because it's a Bitcoin transaction. I know you can do a lot of transactions on Lightning with one Bitcoin transaction, but still, there's only a limited amount of on-chain Bitcoin transactions. Then you can say, well, a lot of people aren't going to be privileged or wealthy enough to even use Bitcoin. And that's probably what I would say where we're going to go. It's just going to be for rich, man. I mean, it's a valuable thing. And most people, you're a fucking bum. You can't afford to use Bitcoin. You're going to take your little UBI and be happy. You get your UBI, you get your government digital currency, you get your whatever, your ration, and you spend that. Bitcoin, it's going to be super rare. I don't want it to be like that. I would like people to have it. But most people, a lot of people, they just don't care, you know? And that's just human nature too. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, you know? People just don't care, man. People care about music, sports, entertainment, politics, shiny things, exciting things, rage bait, clickbait, all these things people care about. And I guess it requires a certain level of intelligence to understand Bitcoin and to really want Bitcoin for what it is. And there's another thing too where most of the people follow too. So it could just be a small percentage of people that push the population in a direction. Now that could work good and bad, right? It could be pushed in a positive, decentralized, permissionless, open source, positive way, where a small group of people can push the entire population in that good direction. Or it could go in a negative way where, you know, people centralized control can influence, exert their power over the population and trap everyone in their centralized scheme. We'll see. I mean, we're in the middle of this right now. It's an amazing time to be alive. We're in the middle. Maybe we're in the beginning, you know, but we're here. It's twisting. It's mixing. It's happening right now. Just under 45,000 unconfirmed transactions in this mempool. Bitcoin Spaces protocol, 1.5360. Total Bitcoin burned, 9,800 bids, 4,210 transfers and registers, and 3,402 rollouts. Spaces in auction, C3, Vendetta, Use. All can be claimed, but still open for bidding. Aaron, Alliance, Dan, Paul, Gene, Invite, claimable in about 1 day, 11 hours, and 50 minutes. Block 927073. Recent Spaces actions, a bunch of rollouts. Log, Opstronaut, Spaces Wallet, Odd, Gesserit, Brother, and an Umbrella Unicoat. Also, 2 transfers on Pump and Redwood. Now, I saw this a little bit earlier. This was on block 926848. We're at 926861. So not long ago, someone came in here and registered Pump. And I noticed here, look, we got this on block 874377 back on December 12th, 2024. So last year, December 12th. And now they just came and made a transaction on it right here, December 7th, 2025. So that just made me think that a lot of these spaces are going to start expiring. A lot of these inactive spaces are going to become available again. Because Spaces Protocol launched on Bitcoin mainnet last November. It was late last November. Let's see. Do we have? Nah, we don't have by date. Or is this time left on auction? I don't know if that's the case here. But either way, November, December last year. So this one was already used in October. If people don't use these, that's the cool thing about Spaces Protocol. If you don't use your Bitcoin address, if you don't use your name, your space, it expires. Top level spaces expire 1 year or however many blocks. I think it's block height. Yeah, it's block height. So it could be more or less than 365 days. So it gets pushed out a certain amount of blocks, which is approximately a year, 365 days. But you know how Bitcoin goes. It's sometimes the blocks are mined faster, slower. So it could be more or less than a full year. So we'll see if we get some cool names that come back into the queue, and we could just bid on them. We'll see what happens. We'll see if there's some good names that come up. Let's take a look at the marketplace. Spaces.market. Latest listings. Think. Void. AY. Books. SK. Ocean. EP. Social. ICE. All right, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you all for watching.